Something big is simmering in Santa Clara, and you can feel it. And it's not one neat storyline either. The number 27 pick could quietly turn into a long-term trenches plan, with Trent Williams' contract talks tugging at the cap. At the same time, a pass rush that finished with only 20 sacks is getting tied to a real name in trade chatter. And then there's the part people avoid saying out loud. The Mac Jones market has cooled off, right as the wide receiver room heads toward 2026 looking almost unrecognizable, with Ricky Pearsall about to be put under a spotlight. All of these lanes connect. And yeah, I know it's early. Everybody's tired of hypotheticals this time of year. But by the end, the craziest point ties the whole picture together. This is the time of year when everything feels like just mock draft season, right? March noise. But this one reads less like filler and more like a warning light. When Charles Davis flips his projection and plugs offensive line at 27, that isn't random. It's a peek into what the organization might be prioritizing. Trent Williams is still Trent Williams, still elite, still a difference maker. But time doesn't pause even for all pros, and he turns 38 before the 2026 season. That matters because the money matters. With big resources going to Brock Purdy, protecting the blind side stops being a nice-to-have and starts being the kind of investment you build around. So the name that jumps off the page is Monroe Freeling, 6'7", 315, a natural left tackle, and more than 82% of his college snaps came on that side. In 2025, he posted an 85.7 pass blocking grade with Pro Football Focus, and across 469 pass block snaps, he allowed just 3 sacks and 9 pressures. That's a legit profile. Now, quick pause, because this is where people get a little too excited. He's not a drop-in starter with no questions. Lance Zierlein's evaluation spells it out. You get the length and athleticism, you get quickness early, but technique and play strength still need work. He talks about lunging, about feet dying after the punch, habits that have to be coached out so the athleticism can finish reps. And that's exactly where the faithful get split. Do they want a successor who sits behind Trent for a year, learns from the best, then takes the baton? Or do they want another weapon right now and just trust the line to hold up? Because if that $38.8 million 2026 cap hit turns into the obstacle that has to be worked around, every dollar saved turns into a roster decision. And this would be a shift in the team's habits. For years, San Francisco hasn't consistently treated early picks like premium offensive line investments. If they do it now, it's not just one player, it's a philosophy nudge in the Shanahan era. If they take Freeling at 27, that's a message. We're thinking about the next chapter, not just next Sunday. Now let's get into the detail that doesn't get discussed enough. 20 sacks. Dead last in the league in 2025, and 6 fewer than the next team. That's not a rough stretch. That's a structural issue. Yes, injuries hammered the pass rush. Nick Bosa tore his ACL. The 2025 first-rounder Mykel Williams tore his ACL too. Brutal. But as the season dragged on, the truth got louder. There wasn't proven depth behind them. When the biggest downs showed up, the rotation didn't scare anybody. And that's why Jonathan Grenard shows up in trade talk. ESPN's Adam Schefter has said the Vikings would prefer to keep him, but they're open to trade discussions. Brian Diardo at CBS Sports listed the 49ers among possible landing spots. Nothing is confirmed yet, but the connection is being floated for a reason. If you watch 2025, you already know why it's tempting. Grenard isn't just a sack total. In 2023 and 2024, he stacked 24.5 sacks combined and earned a Pro Bowl nod after the 2024 season. In 2025, even with the sack number dipping, he still flashed impact. 10 tackles for loss, 12 QB hits, 3 passes defended, and a forced fumble before a shoulder injury ended his season in December. That's disruption you can feel on film. It's the kind of thing that changes how an offense calls protections, even if the box score doesn't scream it. But there's a tough part. Cost versus risk. What are you giving up for a player coming off a season cut short? And how does that fit the cap reality of everything else happening? You can't talk reinforcements like it's Madden. Draft capital matters, money matters, locker room roles matter. This is where the faithful splits. One side says, go get help. Don't gamble the entire year on 2 ACL recoveries. The other side says, trust Bosa and Michael. patch the depth cheaper, and keep premium resources for another weakness. Both sides have a point. Until December hits and the opposing quarterback is sitting clean on 3rd and long, scanning, waiting, delivering. Rotation changes everything too. A legitimate third edge rusher can flip how you call the game, keep guys fresh, and win fourth quarters. And if the price shifts later in the window, if teams get motivated, that's when things can move fast. Now, pivot to Mac Jones, because the assumption and the reality don't match. The common logic is, if a third-round pick offer shows up, San Francisco should sprint to the phone and take it. He went 5-3 when Brock Purdy was out. He's 27. Sell high. Except the market hasn't followed that script. Vic Tafur and Matt Barrows at The Athletic described trade conversations around Jones as relatively quiet, and they noted the 49ers weren't looking to trade him, but expected to be tempted if a third-round offer, or higher, showed up. The twist is, that offer might not be sitting there right now. And that's where the contradiction hits. What feels like a missed opportunity in March can turn into leverage later. Teams don't always behave rationally at quarterback. They behave like people trying to survive. The silence doesn't automatically mean no value. Sometimes it means wait. Quarterback-needy teams chase cheap stopgaps first. They look for cuts. They look for low-cost competition. Then free agency hits. The draft plays out. Injuries happen. Plans fall apart. And desperation creeps in. From San Francisco's perspective, there's a real case for patience. If you're John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, you know one injury can swing an entire year. A dependable QB2 isn't a luxury. It can be the difference between staying afloat and watching a playoff push disappear in September. Shanahan has said they're a better team with Jones on the roster. At the same time, nobody's pretending this is charity work. If a strong offer shows up, they'll listen. It's business. It's timing. So yes, the faithful will split again. Some people want the draft pick right now. Others look at stability and call it the smarter play. The middle ground. Don't force it. Don't slam the door. Hold the card. Watch the board. That's the chess part of it. And while all of that is happening, the pressure at wide receiver is going to be loud. Because if this plays out the way it's being framed, it changes the offensive picture at Levi's Stadium. The receiver room in 2026 is on track to look drastically different than it did in 2023. Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk are described as departing, and Deebo Samuel left this past offseason after signing with Washington. That means the top 3 wideouts from that 2023 group would be in different uniforms. That's not a tweak. That's a reset. Right in the middle of that reset, Ricky Pearsall becomes the headline, whether he wants it or not. Year 3. Maximum pressure. As it stands, that room would be Pearsall, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing, and Demarcus Robinson. Is that enough to carry an offense deep into a season? That's the question that's going to set off every comment section. Pearsall has real traits. Fantasy Points data has him as a top 3 outside separator in the NFL in 2025, with a 19.0% separation win rate on the outside, behind Devontae Adams and Jackson Smith-Njigba, ahead of Puka Nacua and Zay Flowers. That's elite company, but this is the bet. Flashes don't equal a full season. In 2025, he showed moments that got people excited, and then a PCL injury took games off the table and stole rhythm. Heading into 2026, there's no hiding. No veteran trio soaking up the toughest matchups. No built-in safety net where he's just the nice bonus. If he becomes the true X, the offense can breathe differently. Spacing, route structure, third down answers, red zone options. If he doesn't take that leap, the plan shrinks fast. And even if the 49ers take a receiver at 27, rookies usually don't walk in and dominate right away. Plus, the expectation here is they probably won't break the bank for a free agent wideout. So the internal message is loud without being announced. They're counting on Pearsall to anchor the group. That's why this is going to divide the faithful. One side sees a breakout waiting to happen. The other side wants proof before they buy in. But if he turns that separation ability into consistent production, you're talking about a new offensive identity. More precision, more vertical stress, more chunk play potential. Now bring it all home. If number 27 becomes an offensive line succession plan, if the front office reinforces the pass rush with real depth, if they handle the Mac Jones situation with patience instead of panic, and if Pearsall takes the year 3 leap they're clearly banking on, then this isn't just roster maintenance. It's a franchise identity shift. Not one isolated move, a full cycle decision. So I'll leave you with this. Do you see cold, smart planning? Or do you see too much risk stacking up in one offseason? Drop your take in the comments. I want the debate. And if you're locked in with the faithful, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next.